Hi everyone, today we're talking about something that a lot of neurodivergent adults experience but don't always have the language for. RSD stands for Rejection Sensitivity Dysphoria, especially in people who are both autistic and have ADHD, so us AuDHDers. If you've ever felt that feeling like when a small criticism hits you really hard, or that someone is ignoring you, misunderstanding you, it can feel almost painful. So I kind of wanted to break down what RSD is, why it happens, and what might help. So RSD is not an official diagnosis on its own, but it's widely recognised in ADHD and AuDHD communities as part of that experience. It's at its core, it's extreme emotional sensitivity to a perceived or actual rejection, criticism, or failure. And perceived is the key word here. So it's not about being too sensitive. It's that our brains react fast, intensely, and sometimes quicker than we've had time to really think it through and check the facts. So something like a short text reply, a neutral facial expression, or someone cancelling plans can actually feel like, oh gosh, they're mad at me and I did something wrong, or I'm not wanted. And that emotional reaction can be really overwhelming. It can cause shame, anxiety, or even a sudden drop in mood, and it can spiral our thoughts. So we get stuck in an RSD looping spiral. So why does it happen? There's no single cause, but a few things seem to sort of go together. So first, it's the way our brains are wired. ADHD is often linked to differences in emotional regulation. So our brain reacts quickly and strongly, and it can take longer for us to bounce back and come back to our baseline of regulation. So it's kind of like a really sensitive alarm clock. Autism, on the other hand, often involves differences in social processing, like reading cues, interpreting tone. And when you put these two together, you can misread or overanalyze social signals, and our brains can respond very intensely from emotional reactions. Second reason, or third reason, I'm not sure how many reasons I've given, but the third reason is life experience. We spend most of our lives, especially if we're late diagnosed, being misunderstood, getting corrected or criticised. Even if we were diagnosed in childhood, often we feel out of sync socially. Over time, our brain learns rejection is common and painful, so I've got to be hypervigilant and stay on alert. So we're not doing anything wrong. It's often a mix of our neurological sensitivity and our learned protection. So it doesn't look the same for everybody. For me, it comes out as people pleasing or masking. Some people, it comes out as avoidance, not trying to do the things in case you experience RSD or you fail. Overthinking interactions is another one that I often experience. Looping thoughts, overthinking, analysing my conversations, scripting my conversations after or before the social event. Emotional outbursts or shutdowns, or even just cutting people off quickly to avoid being rejected. Some people turn inward, feeling shame, and others turn outward, feeling anger. Both of these are responses to an overwhelmed nervous system, essentially. So what can help? There's no quick fix for RSD, but what we can do is we can name it in the moment. We can just recognise this might be RSD, and that can create a little bit of space between the feeling and the reaction. Doesn't remove it, but it slows down the thought process by naming it as an external thing to our brain. Then reality check gently. What evidence do I actually have for this? Is there another possible explanation? So it's not about gaslighting yourself. It's about looking at it from a wider lens. If you feel triggered, build a pause buffer. Try delaying your responses, especially in conversations or texts, even if you just pause for like a few seconds before you speak, or pause for 10 minutes before you respond to a text. It can help your nervous system settle enough, or step away from the situation for 10 minutes if you need longer. Regulate the body and come back to the conversation. So regulation is often body-based, physical. So that's a splash of cold water on your face or on your wrists, deep pressure like a weighted blanket, or slow breathing. There are lots of different ways you can regulate, and it's individual to everybody. And communicate how you're feeling with the people you trust. You know, I sometimes read into things quickly. If you're ever upset with me, please let me know, and I can I've lost my train of thought. I sometimes read into things quickly. If you're ever upset with me, I'd really appreciate you telling me directly. So clear communication reduces the guesswork, and reduce your exposure. If you know there's certain environments or people that do it and make you feel rejected or trigger those feelings, make note of that. It's not just internal, context plays a really big role. And lastly, I would say that self-compassion is really important. Instead of saying I shouldn't feel this way, say this reaction makes sense given my wiring and experiences, and I don't have to act immediately. It can feel intense, it can feel isolating and confusing, especially when logically that it isn't a big deal, but your body is reacting anyway. It is not a reflection of you, it is not a failing, it's a pattern, and we can understand our patterns, work with them and adjust to them. We won't be able to eliminate it, but we can build our resilience to it and our strategies. We just need tools that work for our brain. So if this resonated with you, you're definitely not alone. I myself have experienced RSD as an AuDHD adult, and hundreds of others will have experienced RSD at all. Putting a name to it might make you feel like it's not you and it is okay. And there's nothing bad about wanting to feel safe, understood and accepted. I hope this has been helpful. Take care.